artichokes. They are one of the strangest looking vegetables that we have. Looks like it has scales on it. This is a very nicely molded one. It's really round. It's really tightly bound. That's a good way to look for them in the store. The streaks that are on there, that doesn't usually matter because that's usually just a hint of the freezing because they come out in the early spring. But they are available most of the year. They can be any size. They can be smaller than this, and they can be larger than this, and they are still okay to eat. And they won't be any less quality. So the main thing to look for is to be sure that the leaves don't start spreading out because that means it's drying out and it's been a while since they've been cut. Artichokes are also available frozen for the hearts, which is the part that we usually eat. And then we also have it in jars that is marinated. My next favorite way to eat the artichoke. Artichoke is probably my favorite vegetable that I love to eat. It is very high in folate. So now that we've chosen them, prepping them seems a little difficult because I think that's where a lot of people get confused because you don't know what to do with it. What do you do? Cut it or whatever? So what I do is I usually peel off the little ones down here at the bottom, and then that makes some little vents so that the stem gets cooked. The stem is edible, and it goes up into the heart of the blossom because this is actually the flower of the artichoke plant. So what I usually do when I come home is the end is usually dark where it's been cut because you have to put lemon juice or a citrus water when you cut things. And so I usually just put a lemon and do it across the bottom if I'm not going to cook it really quite right now. And then it becomes nice and clean. Across the top, sometimes these things have little pokey things on them, but they get soft when they get cooked. And you can see them really well right there. This one little one has a little sharp thing. Some people take scissors, and you can, if that bothers you, you can take them and then you can just clip them off. And then as they cook, you don't have to worry about if they get soft or not. But that takes a long time. So what I usually do is I take the artichoke, I take my serrated knife, and I cut off the very top. And the reason why I do that, it is so bound up and it is so closed up that I want the steam to get inside. And that way it allows me to see all of the leaves inside because there's layers of these for a while. And they get softer the closer you get in. And the easiest way for me to cook it, because you can also put them in, cover them with water and boil them, but they tend to float. You can do them in microwave. You could wrap each one of these in microwave plastic and then put it in the microwave for 15 to 45 minutes, depending if you put one or two in there. But what I like to do is I like to put in about 3 inches of water in my tall pot. And then I put in my insert for steaming. And then I just stick these in face down. So the leaves are going to have the steam going up inside. And then I just sit them in there, and I can usually get 3 in this. So here's my second one. I've already gotten it prepared, and you can see I got that prepared a little earlier, and it's starting to turn brown. And that won't matter once it starts cooking. So then I just put them both in there. I turn on the heat. I put a lid on. I always crack it a little bit. I don't want it to just totally, I want all of the acids to dissipate. That's the reason why some people like to boil it, because then they know all the acids will be dissipated into the water. And then it takes about 15 to 45 minutes, depending on the size, the thickness of the ball. And you can just test that by putting your knife up toward it. To store them, you need to have, you can keep them in the refrigerator about 4 days if you have in the coldest part of your refrigerator. But you know, it's really the best time to use them is pretty much the day or the day after you bring them home from the store. So while those fresh ones are cooking, I want to show you what you can have on the shelf, and you can have artichokes anytime. Remember that thing that we're going to go for in the middle called the heart? That's what these are. They're quartered hearts. So that's another way to use artichokes. Our artichokes are done. They've been cooking for 45 minutes. And we're going to take one out. I'm going to show you how you eat it, and then I'm going to cut it open so you can see the rest of it. Now when you steam it, I turned off the heat, and it's been sitting there for about 5 minutes so they drain really well. Okay. Now, what you usually do is you start peeling these off, and I peel off a couple, and you see how it's peeling the stem also, because you can slice the stem up and eat it too. So I just pull the outside ones off, peels my stem, and then most people can eat the stem that's come off and see this little tiny piece in there? Then you can rake that between your teeth. And you can dip them in butter or lemon sauce. And so you just keep peeling down and you keep eating, and you see how it keeps getting a little bigger. There's that spot right there. And that is really tasty. So you usually just turn that upside down and you put it in your mouth and you rake it off with your bottom teeth. Good. Oh, that is so divine. I love artichokes. So anyway, you just keep doing that. And we don't have time to do all that on this show. So I'm just going to show you what's inside. I'm going to cut it down the middle. If I can get it, it's hot. Get a hot pad here. And I want to show you what you're eating toward. There's a choke. And the reason why they call it the choke, they say, is because that way you would choke on it because it gets in your throat. And there is the purple choke right there. And so when you get to that part, when you've been eating down, you will scrape that out. And underneath there is what you've been striving for. Let me cut this again in the fourth so it'll be easier to see. But you can really see how it is the flour. It's just the unfurled flour. Ouch. It's hot. We want to take this off. And it's always got the little purple, the pretty part. You know, live dangerously. So you just scrape it off and it comes off. And you've already eaten all these little leaves. And so where you end up is this little morsel right here. It's called the heart. That's what's inside the jars, is the heart. And then you can dip this in butter and just eat this whole thing. And that's, oh, it is so divine. In fact, I'm going to have a bite right now. So go to my website. I have a couple of recipes there for your dips, for your artichokes, and try this vegetable if you never have before.